In the heart of the Smoky Mountains, a retired Marine named Sam Miller followed a dying lion into the thick fog. What he found there was a secret so shocking it changed his life and the fate of 30 innocent souls forever. The silence of the woods was broken by a sound that made Sam's blood run cold. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't a bird. It was a heavy, wet rattle, the sound of something massive gasping for its last breath. Sam reached for the holster on his hip. His military training kicked in. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. Ahead, through the gray mist, two golden eyes flickered. They were huge. They were hungry. No, they were something else. The creature stepped out from behind a massive oak tree. It was a lion, a full-grown African lion, standing in the middle of a Tennessee forest. Sam froze. His finger rested on the trigger. But as the fog cleared, the beast didn't spring. It stumbled. The lion was a walking skeleton. Its ribs pushed against its skin like the teeth of a saw. Its mane was matted with filth and old blood. The lion let out a low, broken moan. It wasn't a roar of war. It was a cry for mercy. Sam watched as the great predator collapsed onto its side, its golden eyes locking onto his. In that moment, Sam didn't see a monster. He saw a fellow soldier left behind on the battlefield. The lion's breathing was shallow. He looked like he had given up. Sam's hand shook as he lowered his weapon. "Easy, big guy," Sam whispered. His voice cracked. He reached into his pack and pulled out a piece of beef jerky. He tossed it near the lion's nose. The lion didn't eat. It just looked at Sam, then looked back into the deeper woods. It let out one more weak grunt and tried to stand, its legs shaking like leaves. It was clear. This lion wasn't here to hunt Sam. It was here to lead him. Sam felt the tension in his shoulders melt away. He realized he wasn't in danger. He felt a wave of pity so strong it hurt. He knelt down a few feet away and poured water from his canteen into a small plastic bowl. The lion lapped it up with a sandpaper tongue. For a second, the mountain felt quiet, peaceful. Sam thought the story ended here, just a lost animal and a helping hand. But he was wrong. This was just the beginning. The lion, whom Sam later named Major, forced himself up. He walked 10 feet, stopped, and looked back at Sam. He was waiting. "You want me to follow you?" Sam asked. Major tilted his heavy head. Sam took a step. Major moved deeper into the shadows. They walked for nearly an hour. The trail grew narrow and dark. The smell of the forest changed. The sweet scent of pine was replaced by something foul. It smelled like rot, rusted iron, and old waste. Suddenly, the trees opened up. Sam stopped dead in his tracks. Hidden in a valley that wasn't on any map stood a group of sagging, gray buildings. It was an old roadside zoo, long forgotten by the world, but it wasn't empty. Major led Sam to a row of rusted iron cages. Inside the first one, a tiger lay in its own filth, too weak to even lift its head. In the next, two black bears huddled together, shivering despite their thick fur. The cages were tiny. The water bowls were bone dry. The floors were covered in thick layers of waste that had been there for months. Sam felt a rage boil up in his chest that he hadn't felt since his days in the service. How could anyone do this? He saw the signs on the ground, empty bags of the cheapest feed, rusted chains, and heavy padlocks. This wasn't a zoo. It was a slow-motion execution chamber. Major walked to a specific cage at the very end and let out a sharp, urgent bark. Sam ran over. Inside was another lion, a female. She was even worse off than Major. She was curled into a ball, her breathing so faint Sam thought she was already dead. Major pressed his nose against the bars, licking her ears through the rust. He hadn't escaped to save himself. He had escaped to find someone to save her. Sam pulled out his phone. No signal. He was miles from the nearest road, standing in a graveyard for the living. He looked at the padlocks. They were thick and hardened steel. He didn't have the tools to break them. He felt helpless. The weight of 30 dying animals settled on his shoulders. Sam took a deep breath. He had to be smart. He was a Marine. Marines don't quit. He found an old shed near the entrance. Inside, he found a few gallons of clean water and some old bags of grain. It wasn't much, but it was a start. He spent the next 3 hours going from cage to cage. He spoke softly to the bears. He gave the tigers water. He watched the light come back into their eyes, even just a little bit. He felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe he could keep them alive until morning. But then he heard a different sound, a high-pitched bleat. Sam followed the sound behind the main cages. There he found something he didn't expect. A deer, a beautiful doe, was caught in a jagged coil of old barbed wire that had fallen from a fence. She had been struggling for a long time. The wire was wrapped tight around her back legs, cutting deep. Sam rushed to her, but as he got close, he saw why she was fighting so hard. Just a few feet away, hidden in the tall grass, was a tiny fawn. The baby was shaking, let out tiny cries for its mother. Sam knelt by the doe. "It's okay, Mama, I've got you." As he worked to untangle the wire, he noticed something strange. The doe was exhausted, her eyes rolling back, but she wasn't kicking him. She seemed to understand, but the wire was stubborn. Every time Sam moved a strand, it pinched her skin. Suddenly, a shadow fell over them. Sam looked up. Major was standing just 5 feet away. The lion's predatory instincts should have kicked in. A trapped deer was an easy meal. Sam reached for his gun again. "Don't do it, Major," Sam warned. But Major didn't charge. He sat down. He watched Sam work. It was as if the lion was guarding them. Sam felt a chill go down his spine. The lion wasn't looking at the deer as food. He was looking at her as a cellmate. They were all victims here. Sam finally cut the last strand of wire. The doe tried to stand, but her leg collapsed. She let out a pained cry. Sam checked the wound. It was deep, but it hadn't hit the bone. He took off his flannel shirt and tore it into strips. He wrapped the doe's leg tight. "You have to get up," Sam whispered. "Your baby needs you." The doe looked at the fawn. With a massive burst of energy, she heaved herself up. She limped to the fawn and began to lick its head. It was a beautiful moment of motherly love. But then Sam saw the twist. The doe didn't run away. She turned back and looked at the abandoned zoo. She looked at the cages. Then she walked over to an old wooden crate near the tiger's cage and began to nudge it with her nose. Sam walked over. He pried the lid off the crate. Inside were medical records, names of owners, receipts for illegal animal sales, and most importantly, a list of disposal dates. The owners were coming back in 2 days to clear the inventory. That meant killing every animal left in those cages to hide the evidence of their neglect. The doe hadn't just been trapped. She had been standing over the evidence that could put these monsters away. Sam realized he wasn't just a rescuer anymore. He was a witness. He looked at the sun. It was setting. A storm was rolling in over the Smokies. The temperature was dropping fast. He knew the animals wouldn't survive a freezing night without heat and food, and he knew he couldn't leave them. Stay with me, because what Sam did next is a testament to the human spirit. He went back to his truck, which was miles away. He ran through the dark, his old knees aching, his lungs burning. He grabbed every blanket, every tool, and all the extra fuel he had. He drove his truck as far into the woods as the tires would take him, then carried the gear the rest of the way. He returned to find Major lying next to the female lion's cage. The lioness was barely breathing. Sam started a fire in a metal drum near her cage. He wrapped his own emergency blankets around the bars to keep the heat in. He sat there in the dark, in the middle of a mountain storm, surrounded by lions, tigers, and bears. He wasn't afraid. He felt a strange sense of belonging. He was back in the fight. The night was brutal. The rain turned to sleet. Sam moved from cage to cage, keeping the fires going. He shared his own sandwich with a starving monkey. He sang old songs to the bears to keep them calm. Major never left his side. The lion would nudge Sam's hand whenever he saw Sam's eyes closing. "I'm awake, Major. I'm awake," Sam would say. As the first light of dawn broke through the trees, the storm cleared. The forest was sparkling with ice. Sam checked the lioness. She had made it through the night. Her eyes were open. But the danger wasn't over. Sam heard the sound of an engine. It wasn't a rescue vehicle. It was a heavy truck, a cattle hauler. The owners were early. Sam hid behind a shed. Two men got out of the truck. They were carrying rifles and large black bags. They were laughing. "Let's get this over with," one said. "The boss wants the site clean by noon." They headed straight for the lion cages. Sam knew he couldn't take them both on alone. He didn't have his rifle. He'd left it by the fire to keep his hands free for the animals. But Sam wasn't alone. As the men approached the cage, Major stepped out from the shadows. This time he didn't stumble. He stood tall. He let out a roar that shook the very ground. It was a roar of pure, unfiltered justice. The men screamed and dropped their rifles. They scrambled back toward their truck. Sam stepped out, holding his phone high. "I've got your faces on video, and I've got the records. The police are 10 minutes out." It was a bluff. Sam still didn't have a signal, but the men didn't know that. They jumped in their truck and sped away, nearly crashing into the trees. 10 minutes later, the real sound of sirens filled the valley. Sam had managed to send a text during a brief moment of signal on the ridge the night before. Police cars, vet vans, and animal transport trucks swarmed the area. The shocking secret was out. The news crews arrived shortly after. The story of the veteran and the lion began to spread like wildfire. The rescue was a massive operation. One by one, the animals were loaded into warm, safe trailers. The tigers, the bears, the monkeys, they were all going to a sanctuary in Florida. Finally, it was time for Major and the lioness. The vets worked quickly. They gave the lioness an IV. She was going to live. But when they went to get Major, he wouldn't move. He was lying by the gate of the zoo. His job was done. The adrenaline that had kept him going was gone. His heart was failing. Sam ran to him. He pushed past the vets and knelt in the dirt. He took Major's massive head and laid it in his lap. "Don't you go now," Sam sobbed. "You're a hero, Major. You're going to a place with grass and sun. No more cages." The head vet shook her head. "His organs are shutting down, Sam. He's too far gone." Sam didn't listen. He leaned down and whispered into the lion's ear. "Semper Fi, Major. Always faithful. You didn't leave her behind. I won't leave you." A tear fell from Sam's eye onto the lion's nose. Major's tail gave one tiny, weak flick. He closed his eyes. The heart monitor flatlined. The silence that followed was deafening. Every person at the site stopped what they were doing. But then, the vet's eyes went wide. She looked at the monitor. A tiny blip, then another. "He's fighting," she whispered. "Get the oxygen, now!" They worked on him for 20 minutes right there in the dirt. Sam didn't let go of his hand. And then with a massive, shuddering gasp, Major's chest rose. He was back. The bad guys were caught at the border 2 days later. They are now serving a long sentence for animal cruelty and fraud. 1 year later, Sam drove down to a large sanctuary in Texas. He walked up to a massive fenced-in acre of rolling grassland. "Major?" Sam called out. From across the field, a golden shape appeared. This lion didn't have ribs showing. His mane was thick, dark, and flowing in the wind. He looked like a king. Major walked to the fence. He didn't roar. He just leaned his massive body against the mesh, purring like a giant house cat. Next to him, the lioness walked up, looking healthy and strong. Sam reached through and scratched the spot behind Major's ear. He felt a lump in his throat. He thought about that night in the fog. He thought about how close he came to pulling the trigger. Kindness didn't just save Major. It saved Sam, too. It gave him a reason to keep fighting. This story reminds us that hope can be found in the darkest places as long as someone is brave enough to follow the light. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below. Tell us what you think of Sam and Major's incredible bond. And if you want to see more amazing rescues that will restore your faith in humanity, click the video on the screen right now. There are so many more heroes out there waiting for their stories to be told. Don't forget to subscribe and join our community of animal lovers. See you in the next one.